Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military figures. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore the remarkable life of Israel Putnam, a name that may not be as widely recognized as some of his contemporaries, but one that is nonetheless deeply etched in the annals of American military history. Born on January 7, 1718 in Salem Village, Massachusetts, now Danvers, Putnam's early life was marked by the rustic rhythms of rural New England and the Puritan values that defined his family and community. As we step into the world of young Israel Putnam, we find ourselves in a colonial America on the cusp of significant change. The year 1718 was a time of relative peace for the Massachusetts Bay Colony, following the tumultuous conflicts with Native American tribes that had marred the late 17th and early 18th centuries. Salem Village, nestled in the heart of Essex County, was a small but thriving community of farmers, traders, and craftsmen. The village was surrounded by rolling hills, dense forests, and fertile soil, making it an ideal place for agriculture and settlement. Israel's family, including his parents, Joseph and Elizabeth Putnam, were among the earliest settlers of Salem Village, having arrived in the area in the late 1600s. Israel's childhood was shaped by the harsh realities of rural life in colonial America. He grew up in a modest farmhouse on the family's property, which included a small orchard, a barn, and several outbuildings. The Putnam family was known for their strong work ethic and their commitment to farming and trade. Israel's father, Joseph, was a successful farmer and trader who played an active role in the local community. He served as a selectman, a constable, and a member of the local militia, instilling in Israel a sense of civic duty and responsibility from a young age. As a child, Israel would have been expected to contribute to the family's farm work, learning essential skills such as plowing, planting, and harvesting. He would have also received a basic education at home or in a local school where he would have studied reading, writing, and arithmetic. The Putnam family was known for their strong Puritan values, which emphasized the importance of hard work, self-reliance, and devotion to God. These values would shape Israel's character and inform his decisions throughout his life. In 1730, when Israel was just 12 years old, his family faced a significant challenge. A devastating smallpox epidemic swept through Salem Village, killing hundreds of people and leaving many more orphaned or widowed. The Putnam family was fortunate to have escaped the worst of the epidemic, but the experience would have had a profound impact on Israel's young mind. It would have taught him about the fragility of life, the importance of community, and the need for resilience in the face of adversity. As Israel entered his late teens, he began to take on more responsibilities within the family farm, learning the skills necessary to one day manage his own land. He would have worked alongside his father, learning about crop rotation, animal husbandry, and trade. He would have also begun to develop his own interests and passions, perhaps exploring the surrounding countryside, hunting, or fishing. In 1740, at the age of 22, Israel Putnam married Hannah Pope, a young woman from a neighboring family. The marriage was likely arranged by their families, as was common practice at the time. Hannah was known for her intelligence, kindness, and strong work ethic, making her an ideal partner for Israel. The couple started their own family soon after, with their first child, Elizabeth, born in 1741. This period of stability and growth was short-lived, as the winds of war began to stir on the horizon. The looming conflict that would soon engulf the colonies and draw Israel into its vortex was the War of the Austrian Succession, known in American history as King George's War. As tensions escalated between British and French forces and their respective Native American allies, men like Israel Putnam were faced with the prospect of military service. It was against this backdrop of impending war that Israel's first major event, one that would set him on a path to becoming a legendary figure in American military history, was about to unfold. This period marked a significant turning point for Israel, setting him on a path that would eventually lead him to become a legendary figure in American history. As we delve into this critical phase of Israel's life, it's essential to understand the context in which he found himself. The year 1745 was pivotal, with the British launching an assault on the French fortress of Louisbourg in Nova Scotia. This campaign, part of King George's War, saw the participation of colonial militia from various parts of New England, including Massachusetts. Israel Putnam, then a young man of 27 years, enlisted in the Connecticut militia under the command of Captain Noah Whiting. His decision to join the war effort was likely influenced by a combination of factors, including patriotism, economic opportunities, and personal adventure. The siege of Louisbourg was Israel's baptism by fire, introducing him to the harsh realities of warfare. Although the British ultimately captured the fortress, the campaign was marked by significant challenges, including disease, logistical issues, and fierce resistance from French and Native American forces. Israel's experiences during this campaign would have been formative, teaching him valuable lessons about endurance, tactics, and leadership. Following the capture of Louisbourg, Israel returned to Connecticut, but his military career was far from over. This conflict would prove to be a defining moment in Israel's life, catapulting him into the forefront of colonial military leadership. In 1755, Israel joined the Connecticut militia once again, this time as part of an expedition led by Major General Edward Braddock, aimed at capturing Fort Duquesne, present-day Pittsburgh, from French control. Although the campaign ended in disaster with Braddock's defeat and death, Israel distinguished himself during the Battle of the Monongahela. His bravery and quick thinking in the face of overwhelming odds earned him recognition among his peers and superiors. The French and Indian War continued to shape Israel's military career over the next several years. He participated in various campaigns, including the successful capture of Fort William Henry in 1757 and the ill-fated expedition against Ticonderoga in 1758. These experiences honed his skills as a soldier and commander, preparing him for the challenges that lay ahead. One of the most significant events in Israel's life during this period was his capture by Native American forces in 1758. While on a scouting mission near Fort Edward, New York, Israel was taken prisoner by a group of Caughnawaga warriors allied with the French. This ordeal, which included being subjected to ritual torture and eventually escaping, left an indelible mark on Israel's psyche and further solidified his reputation as a man of unyielding resilience. As the French and Indian War drew to a close with the British victory in 1763, Israel returned to Connecticut, hailed as a hero for his bravery and military prowess. However, the post-war period was marked by growing tensions between the colonies and Great Britain, laying the groundwork for what would eventually become the American Revolution. As the 1760s unfolded, Israel found himself increasingly at odds with British policies, particularly the imposition of taxes without representation. This period saw a rise in patriotic fervor across the colonies, with various groups and individuals beginning to organize against British rule. Israel, with his military experience and leadership skills, was naturally drawn into this movement. In 1765, Israel joined the Sons of Liberty, a radical group opposed to British taxation policies. Although not as actively involved as some other members, such as Samuel Adams or John Hancock, Israel's participation demonstrated his commitment to the cause of colonial rights. His experience in the French and Indian War had given him a unique perspective on the relationship between the colonies and Great Britain, and he was among those who believed that armed resistance might eventually be necessary. The years leading up to the American Revolution were marked by escalating tensions between the colonies and Great Britain. Israel, now in his mid-40s, continued to serve in the Connecticut militia, albeit in a more ceremonial capacity due to his age and stature. However, with the outbreak of hostilities at Lexington and Concord in April 1775, Israel once again found himself at the forefront of colonial military efforts. Israel's most famous exploit during this period was his ride to warn the colonies of the approaching British Army, a feat that has become legendary in American history. Although often overshadowed by Paul Revere's more famous Midnight Ride, Israel's actions were crucial in mobilizing colonial forces and preparing them for the impending battle. As he rode through the countryside, warning towns and villages of the British approach, Israel embodied the spirit of patriotism and urgency that defined the early days of the Revolution. The Battle of Bunker Hill, fought on June 17, 1775, was a pivotal moment in the American Revolution, and Israel Putnam played a key role in the colonial forces' defense. Although the British technically won the battle by capturing the high ground on Breed's Hill, they suffered heavy casualties, which made them realize that the war would not be easily won. Israel's leadership and tactical decisions during the battle were instrumental in minimizing colonial losses and maximizing the impact of their resistance. In the aftermath of Bunker Hill, Israel continued to serve with distinction in the Continental Army, participating in various campaigns and battles throughout 1775 and 1776. His experience and knowledge of military tactics made him a valuable asset to the colonial forces, and he worked closely with other prominent leaders, including George Washington, to develop strategies for defeating the British. From his involvement in key battles to his interactions with other notable figures of the time, Israel's story offers a unique window into the challenges and triumphs of America's fight for independence. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.